Hello again, word lovers. We've already looked at insults. In this installment, we're going to look at words which began as insults but were appropriated by the victims and so passed into ordinary language without a pejorative term. This process is called reappropriation, and here are some examples. The Conservative Party in Britain, sometimes known as the Tory Party, which is an Irish word meaning possibly thief, or at any rate, a pursued man, Toraid. The artistic school known as Impressionism was first an insult. Critic Louis Leroy decided he didn't like it at all, and in Le Charivari newspaper wrote a damning piece called The Exhibition of the Impressionists, taking the name also from the name of one of Monet's paintings, Impression, Soleil Levant. So that was a misjudgment, as was the idea of the Mensheviks to accept the term Menshevik in Russia. The Bolsheviks had already claimed the term Bolshevik, meaning the majority, which they weren't, so the Mensheviks, rather incredibly, allowed themselves to be called the minority. In England, during the Civil War, our history books will tell us this was fought between Cavaliers and Roundheads. Now, the Cavaliers didn't mind being called Cavaliers, but Roundhead was considered a term of abuse by the Roundheads and was forbidden. It was a punishable offence in the New Model Army. Some of the slang insults for homosexuals have been accepted into the gay community, and I say gay as it being one of the most natural words now. Why are gay people known as gay? Two possibilities here, neither of them very convincing. One is from London in the end of the 19th century, where gay was used as a street slang for prostitutes in general. They used to ask people, are you gay? Meaning, would you like a good time? But this wasn't specifically homosexual. And around the same time in America, casual workers were known as gay cats. Casual workers who did a month of work, then hit the road, did another month, a couple of weeks. Normally young males, and homosexuality was prevalent among them, according to Reputation. So they were called gay cats. Gay, though, is hardly an insulting term to begin with, since it just means happy. The actual word gay comes from Frankish, it is thought. Gay, also related to an old German word, wahi, meaning pretty. Queer, on the other hand, which has also been appropriated, comes from a German word meaning oblique or odd. When we trace this back, we go to Old German twer, meaning oblique, and that goes all the way back to pi, with a very similar root, terku, to twist. As for dykes, to get dyked out and go out on a dyke meant to get dressed in your best clothes back in the day, and may just be a variant of decked out. How that came to mean female homosexual, I can't tell you. Big Bang Theory, however, is well known as an insult. Fred Hoyle, the English astronomer, thought the theory was nonsense and christened it the Big Bang Theory in an attempt to ridicule it. But that's what it's called. In the world of religion, quite a few words which were adopted from original insults, among them Jesuit, Protestant, Methodist, Quaker. Quaker maybe not so insulting. It's taken to mean people who quake before the word of the Lord. And George Fox, the founder of the Quakers, did suggest that it would be a good thing for his followers to tremble at the word of the Lord. So it might be from George Fox, but it was used earlier about other religious practitioners. And to return to method for a while, method as a science of inquiry comes from meta in Greek plus hodos, meta being in pursuit of, and hodos being a system or a manner of doing something. Also meant a travelling, a journey, a path, a track, a road. So that's where we get the method from, and these overly methodical preachers and religious practitioners came to be known as Methodists. More obvious recent examples are adjectives such as bad, sick, wicked, which have all done 180-degree turns to mean the opposite of their original meanings. And staying slightly up to date, 2 words from the 80s and 1 from the 60s. Geeks and nerds are part of our vocabulary these days. A geek meant a freak until the 80s, and apparently comes from Dutch gek. Now this is described as coming from a North Sea Germanic and Scandinavian, which sounds very broad, but it means to croak or to cackle. And a nerd, well, Dr. Seuss talked about nerds, or at least a nerd, in 1950, and this could simply be a heavily accented way of saying nut. He's a bit of a nut, a bit of a mad person. Nut, another satisfying word that comes directly from pi, kneu, which went into nux in Latin, and is also the source of the word nucleus. And that's about it, dudes. Oh, that's another one. Not many people object to being called a dude these days, but back in the 19th century, it was an insult, meaning affected and foppish. So, ciao for now, all you swinging hip cats.